As was mentioned by both of our previous speakers, the I-39-90 project is incredibly important, not just to Beloit and Janesville, not just to Rock County, but this entire region and to the state. It's important for a variety of reasons. First and foremost, as it is with every transportation project in the state, it's important for safety. You look at this corridor, the 45 miles or so from the state line up to the belt line, and you look at the traffic crashes and occurrences, they're about 20% higher than they are on average across the state. So the number one, there's a safety issue, and anyone who's traveled throughout this area knows how important that is. We make safety our number one priority with all of our transportation projects, so that alone is a reason enough to move forward. Along with that, there's an economic impact, and it's for a variety of reasons. Certainly, the economic impact of the crews that are working here is an immediate gain, but for all the businesses, be it in retail, manufacturing, agriculture, even tourism. We were talking about Visit Beloit, who helps us as a partner up at our visitor center. Just as you come into the state, a partnership between tourism, the State Department of Transportation, and Visit Beloit. But throughout this corridor, again, the communities that are benefited by this corridor see annually about $1.2 billion worth of economic impact from tourists within the region. And certainly in October, we think about Manufacturing Month. And now, James, we were talking about this earlier, but a lot of businesses that are looking to grow here or to come here, one of the things they want to know is what's the commitment to the I-39-90 corridor? What's the timeline? What's the expansion going to be like? How do you go from 4 to 6, and at some points just up the way, up to 8 lanes? What's going to be done with the interchanges, the 11 interchanges that we're talked about, the nearly 100 bridges, and the safety and economic components aligned with that. And so we're here today to reinforce our support for this project and to reinforce as well our request to the members of the Joint Finance Committee. All the lawmakers were introduced, but I particularly want to thank, when it comes to the Finance Committee, Representative Laudenbach, because she's one of the 16 members. The good news is she's on your side on this issue, but we need to make sure we get a majority of the folks, and this is one of those where we're going to be working with both Republicans and Democrats alike. We've talked to the legislative leaders, we've talked to the co-chairs. We're asking for, we officially, Secretary Gottlieb sent the letter on Monday on the 19th to ask for $200 million in the first year of the biennium. So this current fiscal year, $200 million in contingent bonding to be freed up. And I want to stress, that's money that was already approved in the budget. A lot of times in the stories I've seen the last couple of days, people talk about Walker wants more bonding. Walker needs more money for transportation. That's not true. The money was approved in the budget that I signed on July 12, 2015, that a majority of the Assembly and the Senate voted for. It was in the budget. There's no new money. It's money that's already included in the budget. When people talk about bonding levels, I'm concerned about bonding levels. That's why I'm proud to have signed a budget that had the lowest level of bonding in more than 20 years. This bonding for this project and the other 4 major projects across the state is included in that number. So it's not new money, it's money that was in the budget. It's not higher levels of bonding, it's the lowest level of bonding, even with this being approved, this money being freed up. So if you have concerns about spending, if you have concern about bonding, the great news is we can do this project, we can get this back on track, get this moved up a year from the numbers DOT just mentioned the other day, a while back, in response to where the budget is at today. We can do that without adding anything new to the budget from what was approved on July 12th, excuse me, when I signed the budget, and we can do it while still having the lowest level of bonding in 2 decades. I think that's important because there's a lot of talk about what this means about bonding or spending. It's important to know that we can do this project and 4 other major projects like this across the state. Out of the $200 million, $125 million will go into this and 4 other majors. We were at one up in the Fox Valley the other day. There's one just up the way, just off the southwest corner of Dane County. There's others up near the Fox Valley in Sheboygan, in that area. These are major projects that are important for safety. They're important for economic development, particularly in manufacturing and agriculture. They're important in retail and tourism. We need to get them done. And so it doesn't take a new vote for new money. It doesn't take higher levels of bonding. We can get it done with what we have today. The $125 million will help this go forward. The $75 million, the remainder of that goes in the state highway rehabilitation, which is important for projects like this because we make investments, major investments like this. We need to make sure we keep them up. And as you can see here, here we are midday on a Thursday in late October. The weather doesn't feel like it, but you still get a lot of traffic. And it's a great reminder that, certainly when the summer comes and people are flowing into Wisconsin because of all of our great tourist attractions, that's wonderful, but we want to make sure they have an easy ride to get to whatever their destination is across the state. We want to make sure that you're talking about Blaine's Farm and Fleet, or whether it's any other business, where it's ABC Supply or whoever the businesses are, as they're getting their product to and from market, we want to make sure they've got an easy pathway, so this is an attractive place not only to do business in, but to come and add business to. And we believe we can do that. This should be an easy vote for the members of the Joint Finance Committee, because they can do the right thing. They can get these projects back on a reasonable track going forward, on a reasonable path to move forward for safety and for economic reasons, and they can do so without adding any more than the bonding levels that we've had over the past couple decades, and they can do that without adding any more money to the budget. We can have a debate in the future, going into the next budget, about how to handle future infrastructure needs, but as for today, all we need is a vote in the Finance Committee. We believe if we have a vote, we have enough members of both the Assembly and the Senate, Republican and Democrat alike, that are willing to vote to go forward with this. And that's why we're here today, to reinforce just how important it is to the state as a whole, but particularly to all the interested parties and places like Rock County and other key regions across the state of Wisconsin.